When you become unavailable, you become powerful. Remember this, because the whole world is trying to make you available to everyone at every moment. They want your attention, your energy, your emotions, your time. They want you to react, to explain, to justify, to please. And the more available you are, the more drained you become. You disappear into the noise of others. You lose your center, your clarity, your presence. To be unavailable does not mean to be cold. It means to be centered. It means you no longer give yourself cheaply to everything that knocks at your door. You begin to discriminate between what deserves your energy and what only consumes it. You become a master of your own space. Look around. People are constantly available. Their phones vibrate and they respond instantly. Someone calls and they rush. A message appears and they cannot resist checking. They are slaves. Slaves to attention, to approval, to fear of missing out. Their entire being depends on staying connected, visible, reachable. But the more reachable you are, the less real you become. You are spread too thin, like light diluted in fog. When you become unavailable, something miraculous happens. Your energy starts to accumulate again. You become magnetic, not because you chase, but because you withdraw. The world begins to feel your absence, and in that absence, your presence becomes stronger. People start wondering what you are doing, where your attention has gone, what kind of silence surrounds you. They begin to feel your power, because you are no longer desperate to be seen. I have often said, availability is a disease of the ego. The ego wants to be wanted. It wants to be needed. It thrives on being busy, being involved, being indispensable. So you keep saying yes to everything, and in that endless yes, you become exhausted. The ego is terrified of being alone, because in aloneness the ego dies. That's why people are constantly surrounded by others, constantly filling their minds with noise. They want to avoid the silence that reveals their emptiness. But the man who becomes unavailable to this madness, he discovers a different dimension of being. He no longer says yes automatically. He pauses, he observes, he chooses. He is not in a hurry to please or to explain. He lets others wait. He knows that time is sacred, that energy is divine, that attention is not to be wasted on trivialities. And because of this awareness, his every action carries power. His every word has weight. Do you see the paradox? When you stop running after people, they begin to run after you. When you stop trying to prove your worth, the world starts recognizing it. Power is not something you chase. It arises naturally when you are self-contained. The river does not go to the thirsty. The thirsty come to the river. But you have been taught to be the opposite, to go begging for drops, while the ocean waits within you. To be unavailable means you are no longer controlled by the external. You are no longer addicted to validation. You are no longer reacting to the world. You are responding from your center. It is the art of mastering your presence, appearing and disappearing consciously. When I say become unavailable, I'm not asking you to escape society, to live in a cave. I'm asking you to bring awareness to your engagements, to move from mechanical reaction to conscious choice. You may be among thousands of people, yet inwardly remain untouched, centered, silent. That is the ultimate unavailability, not of the body, but of the mind. The truly unavailable man is not rejecting the world. He is simply refusing to be manipulated by it. His smile is his own. His sadness is his own. His time is his own. No one can take him for granted. And because of that, he becomes powerful, not through domination, but through presence. His absence itself radiates something mysterious. When you become unavailable, people cannot predict you. They cannot control you. And this unpredictability is power. The available person is transparent. His energy leaks through 1,000 cracks. The unavailable one is like a mountain, still, grounded, impenetrable. From that stillness, everything he does carries the fragrance of mastery. Power is not something you gain from others. It is something you reclaim from yourself. When you are constantly available, you are leaking this power drop by drop. Every opinion you react to, every argument you join, every emotional storm you participate in, you are giving a part of your energy away. The world feeds on your reactions. The more you react, the weaker you become. The less you react, the more centered you are. The unavailable person is like a mirror. Nothing sticks to him. You can shout, praise, insult, beg, seduce, But his being remains untouched. He sees you, he listens, but from a distance. And this distance is not arrogance, it is awareness. It is the space that allows him to see clearly what is real and what is just noise. You have been taught to believe that love means being constantly available. This is one of the greatest lies. True love does not demand your constant presence. It celebrates your being. It allows space. When you become too available, even love turns into suffocation. The other begins to take you for granted, because your energy is no longer a gift. It has become a habit. But when you learn to withdraw gracefully, love becomes alive again. Your presence becomes precious, because it is not always there. You see, people are afraid of being missed. They are terrified that if they disappear for a while, the world will forget them. This fear keeps them trapped in endless social activity. But let me tell you, only when you are absent can your real presence be felt. Your absence gives others the space to recognize your essence. Just as the night reveals the beauty of the stars, your withdrawal reveals the depth of your being. Silence is the highest form of unavailability. The moment you stop explaining yourself, justifying yourself, defending yourself, you become powerful. The mind of the other becomes restless, curious, uneasy. They want to pull you back into the game of words, into the marketplace of opinions. But if you remain silent, untouched, their mind cannot reach you. Your silence becomes a fortress. Have you noticed? When someone ignores you, you feel disturbed. When they do not respond to your message, a small anxiety arises. That anxiety is your dependence being exposed. You want to be needed, to be seen, to be affirmed. But the truly powerful man is free from this need. He does not crave attention because he knows he is whole. Whether the world looks at him or not, his light remains the same. Unavailability, then, is not withdrawal from life. It is withdrawal from dependency. You still move through the world, you still speak, you still love, but now from freedom, not from fear. You do not cling to anyone or anything. You can disappear at any moment, and that possibility makes your presence radiant. People will misunderstand you. They will call you distant, detached, aloof. Let them. The truth is, they are simply uncomfortable with your independence. They cannot manipulate what they cannot reach. They want you to be available so they can use you, emotionally, mentally, energetically. The moment you step out of that system, they will try to pull you back with guilt, with love, with drama. But remember, they are not angry because you left them. They are angry because they lost control. To be unavailable means you have stopped being a slave. You are no longer a puppet moved by invisible strings. You have cut those strings one by one. The need to please, the need to prove, the need to belong. And now you stand alone. Alone, but not lonely. In that aloneness, you feel immense strength because your energy has come home. This is the paradox of power. When you depend on others, you become weak. When you stop depending, you become irresistible. Your presence starts to carry gravity. People are drawn to you without knowing why. They sense something unshakable, something beyond their reach. It is your self-possession, your inner sovereignty. And remember, the world fears such a person. Society functions on dependence, on people needing others, needing approval, needing systems. The man who needs nothing cannot be controlled. That's why every culture teaches you to be available, to be responsive, to always say yes. It's a subtle conditioning that keeps you enslaved. But once you taste the beauty of being unavailable, you can never go back. It's like discovering a silence that the noise can no longer penetrate. You move through the crowd, but remain untouched. You speak, but your words come from a deeper space. You love, but without possession. You act, but with detachment. You become like the sky, vast, ungraspable, eternally free. When you become unavailable, your energy stops moving outward and begins to turn inward. That turning is meditation. The ordinary man's energy is constantly leaking through words, through desires, through worries, through endless attempts to impress others. He is like a candle burning at both ends. And then he wonders why he feels empty, exhausted, purposeless. His life becomes a series of reactions, not a conscious flow. To be unavailable is to reverse this movement, to let your energy gather within. The more you collect it, the more luminous you become. Your consciousness starts to glow from the inside because you are no longer scattered in 1,000 directions. You become one, integrated, whole. That wholeness is power. Meditation is simply unavailability to the world. When you close your eyes and turn inward, the world knocks, but you do not answer. Thoughts try to seduce you, emotions try to pull you, memories try to haunt you, yet you remain still. You become unavailable to your own mind. That is the highest mastery. Because if you can be unavailable to your mind, no one in the world can touch you. The mind is the greatest salesman of availability. It constantly tells you, do something, say something, prove something. It keeps you restless, always reacting, and the moment you react, you are trapped again. Every reaction is a chain, every silence is a key. If you can learn to respond instead of react, you become a master of your inner kingdom. I am not telling you to become indifferent. Indifference is dead. Unavailability is alive. Indifference is a defense of fear. Unavailability is an expression of freedom. The indifferent man closes his heart because he is afraid of being hurt. The unavailable man keeps his heart open, but he decides consciously when to open it, how deeply and for whom. He loves like a god, without expectation, without demand, without attachment. His love cannot be possessed because it flows from abundance. Power is not domination. True power is presence without effort. When you walk into a room and your silence speaks louder than everyone's words, that is power. When you do not need to prove your value, when your being itself is enough, that is power. And this power comes only when you are not running after it. It comes when you stop chasing and start being. The ego wants to be available because it fears being forgotten, but the soul knows that it cannot be forgotten because it is existence itself. When you realize this, you stop begging for recognition. You no longer chase the eyes of others. You meet your own gaze in the mirror and see eternity looking back. Look at a Buddha, a Jesus, a Lao Tzu. They were unavailable, not because they rejected the world, but because the world could not reach the height of their silence. You could go to them, but you could not pull them into your madness. You could speak, but they would listen from another dimension. Their very silence was a barrier, soft, yet impenetrable. That is the beauty of true unavailability. It does not isolate you, it elevates you. It takes you to such a height that the small games of the world simply cannot touch you. You become like a mountain peak. Clouds may come and go, storms may roar, but your being remains untouched. And yet, paradoxically, when you reach that point, you become truly available for the first time, not to people's egos, but to their souls, because now you are no longer part of their drama. You can love them without getting entangled. You can help them without being drained. You can be with them without losing yourself. Unavailability to the lower makes you available to the higher. When you stop reacting to the noise, you start hearing the music that was always there, the subtle rhythm of existence, the silent whisper of being. You begin to feel connected, not to individuals, but to the whole. You are no longer a drop lost in the ocean. You are the ocean itself. This is why the mystic seems distant to ordinary eyes. The masses think he has withdrawn, but in truth, he has expanded beyond the visible. He has become unavailable to illusion, but utterly available to truth. He has stepped out of the small circle of human drama and entered the vast sky of consciousness. And once you taste even a glimpse of this inner space, the old ways lose their charm. You no longer rush to reply, to prove, to argue. You no longer need to be right. You watch life unfold with a gentle smile, as if the whole world were a play, beautiful, transient, dreamlike. You become the witness. To be unavailable, then, is to live as a witness. The body acts, the mind speaks, the world continues, but something deep within you remains untouched. You are in the world, but not of it. You are here, yet elsewhere. You are seen, yet beyond sight. This is the fragrance of true power, effortless, silent, invisible, but immense. When you become unavailable, you begin to taste freedom for the first time. Freedom not from others, but from yourself. From the mechanical patterns, the endless habits, the compulsive need to engage. Most people think they are free because no one is controlling them, but they are controlled by their own restlessness. The compulsion to respond, to be seen, to explain, that is the subtlest form of slavery. You must understand, true freedom is silence inside. It is not about doing whatever you want, but about not being pulled in every direction. When you no longer move because of impulse, but because of awareness, that is freedom. The unavailable man moves only when something within him says yes from the depths. Until then, he remains unmoved, unprovoked, undisturbed. This is the state of the Buddha. The world came to him with endless questions, endless projections, and yet he remained untouched. He was like a mirror, perfectly available to reflect you, but completely unavailable to absorb your madness. The mirror reflects, but it does not retain. That is the secret. Be a mirror, available to the moment, unavailable to attachment. And the miracle is, once you live from this center, the whole quality of your life changes. Your relationships transform, your work transforms, even your presence transforms the space around you. Because now everything you do arises from fullness, not from lack. You are no longer acting to fill a void. You act because your cup is overflowing. The available man acts to get something: love, respect, security. The unavailable man acts because he already has everything. His being is enough. He can give because he is full. That's why his love does not cling. His compassion does not demand gratitude. His generosity is not manipulation. It is celebration. When you become unavailable, people will test you. They will try to pull you back into the world of reaction. They will provoke you, tempt you, challenge you, because your silence disturbs their unconsciousness. They cannot tolerate your calmness. It reminds them of their own chaos. But if you remain centered, something strange begins to happen. Your peace starts to infect them. Your stillness begins to awaken theirs. That is the true power of the unavailable man. He transforms others without trying. His silence speaks, his absence teaches, his detachment liberates. Because in his presence, people suddenly feel their own noise, their own dependency, their own slavery. And if they are courageous enough, that discomfort becomes the doorway to awakening. The weak man fears losing others. The strong man fears losing himself. Remember this. When you are afraid of losing people, you become their prisoner. But when you are afraid of losing your own consciousness, you become your own master. Never trade your awareness for connection. Connection without awareness is bondage. There is beauty in distance. When you create space between yourself and the world, you begin to see clearly. You see how people live in patterns, how society manipulates desire, how every advertisement, every ideology, every relationship tries to keep you hooked. It's all a market, and your availability is the product being sold. Be unavailable to the market. Be unavailable to manipulation. Be unavailable to fear, but be totally available to existence, to love, to truth. Withdraw from the artificial so that the authentic can enter. Once you stop giving your energy to what is false, the real begins to bloom naturally. Silence is not the absence of communication. It is the presence of understanding. When you are unavailable to noise, you begin to hear the subtle, the heartbeat of life, the pulse of the cosmos. You feel that existence is not against you. It has always been waiting for you to stop running. And in that stillness, you become one with it. Power in its purest form is not dominance. It is alignment. When you are aligned with existence, even the universe moves through you effortlessly. You do not push the river. You flow with it. You do not fight for control. You become the current itself. And this can only happen when you are unavailable to distraction. People often ask me, how do I become powerful? And I tell them, stop trying. Power comes when trying stops. Effort belongs to the ego. Presence belongs to the being. When you no longer seek to prove anything, when your being stands in its own truth, that very silence becomes power. You become like the sun, radiating, not competing. But remember, the path to this silence is not easy. The ego will resist. It will whisper, you are missing out. You are being forgotten. The world will mock you, call you cold, arrogant, detached. But let them. They cannot understand what it means to stand alone in your light. Their approval is the price of your slavery. You will have moments of doubt, moments of loneliness, but those moments are sacred. They are the birth pains of transformation. The old self is dying, the dependent self, the one addicted to attention. Let it die. Let it burn away until only the pure presence remains, silent, sovereign, whole. Then you will see. Being unavailable was never about separation. It was about returning home. You were scattered in 1,000 directions, begging for crumbs of recognition, and now you have found the feast within. You are no longer chasing light. You have become the source. When you become unavailable, you stop living in the marketplace of validation. You no longer measure your worth by the reactions of others, And that is when your real life begins, when your actions are no longer driven by the need to be seen, but by the joy of being. You begin to live from the inside out. Everything you do carries the fragrance of authenticity because it is born in freedom. Look into your own life. How many times have you said yes when every fiber of your being was screaming no? How many times have you responded out of fear? Fear of rejection, fear of being misunderstood, fear of being left behind. And how many times has that fear only deepened your dependence? This is how people become prisoners in invisible chains, smiling on the outside while their soul suffocates inside. Be honest with yourself. You have given too much of your energy to things that never deserved it, to people who never listened, to situations that drained you, to arguments that proved nothing, and still you continued, because you were afraid to disappear. But I tell you, disappearance is beautiful. When you disappear from the noise, you appear in your own light. Unavailability is the doorway to presence. It is the space where you begin to breathe again, to feel again, to remember who you are. When you no longer run after the world, you start hearing your own footsteps. You realize you were never missing anything. You were simply too available to distractions to notice the treasure within. You are not meant to be accessible to everyone. You are not a public property. You are a sacred space. Every time you say no to something meaningless, you say yes to your soul. Every time you turn your attention inward, you reclaim a piece of your power. And slowly, silently, you begin to radiate an energy that needs no introduction. People will feel it, not through your words, but through your being. Let the world misunderstand you. Let them call you mysterious, unpredictable, unavailable. You owe no explanation. Your silence will speak louder than any defense. And one day, those who once demanded your availability will seek your stillness, because deep down they are tired too. They crave the same peace they once mocked in you. When you become unavailable, you create a sacred boundary, not against others but for yourself. That boundary is love in its purest form. It is saying, I will not betray myself again. I will not spend my life pleasing ghosts. You realize that you can love people deeply without being consumed by them. You can be present without being possessed. You can care without carrying their chaos inside you. And that, my friend, is the ultimate power. To remain open yet untouched, compassionate yet unshaken. To move through the world like a silent storm, calm on the surface, infinite in depth. You are no longer seeking control, you are embodying it. Because now control is not something you impose on others. It is the serenity you have within. In that stillness, the universe starts to cooperate with you. Things begin to align effortlessly. People appear at the right time. Opportunities unfold naturally. Synchronicities bloom like flowers. You are no longer chasing life. Life is moving through you. You have become a channel for existence itself. And in those moments, you understand, to be unavailable is to be fully available to the divine. When the noise of the world fades, the music of the cosmos begins to play. You hear it in the wind, in the silence between your breaths, in the space behind every heartbeat. You realize that the same consciousness that moves the stars is breathing through you. Now you see why I say, when you become unavailable, you become powerful. Because all that was borrowed falls away. All that was false dissolves. Only the real remains. And the real does not shout, it simply is. The sun does not announce its rising, yet everything wakes because of it. The flower does not beg to be seen, yet its fragrance travels miles. The ocean does not chase rivers, yet all rivers return to it. This is the power of unavailability, effortless, silent, complete. Ask yourself, are you living, or are you merely reacting? Are you being, or are you constantly proving? Are you here, or are you scattered across the minds of others? Because the moment you stop seeking attention, attention begins to seek you. The moment you stop running, life begins to come closer. Do not be afraid of being missed. Be afraid of never being found by yourself. The greatest tragedy is not that the world forgets you, but that you forget who you are while trying to please it. Withdraw, return home, sit in your own silence until it becomes music. And when that silence grows so deep that nothing from the outside can touch it, you will laugh, because you will see that power was never about control, never about others. It was always about presence. To be unavailable is simply to be whole again. So I leave you with this. Become unavailable to noise but available to truth, unavailable to chaos but available to peace, unavailable to the world's madness but available to existence itself. Then you will know what it means to be truly powerful, not as someone above others but as someone beyond need. If these words have stirred something in you, let the silence that follows be your meditation. Sit with it, feel its depth. And if this message resonates with your heart, share your own reflection with the world, not to seek attention, but to spread awareness. When you become unavailable, you become powerful, not because you conquer, but because you return to your own kingdom.